Multifamily Mindset
Podcast. Think bigger.
Hello, and welcome back, my friends, to another awesome episode of the Multifamily Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Cindy Maguire, better known as Cindy. Show me the money, Maguire. I do wear a few hats. I am a strategist at the Multifamily Mindset, seasoned real estate investor, co-founder of Gold Bar Partners, Deal Dolphin, and mentor to many budding real estate enthusiasts. If you're new here, we're happy you found us and super stoked to have you join our ever-expanding network. Whether you're looking for inspiration, practical advice, or just a good story, you've come to the right place. At the Multifamily Mindset Podcast, we serve up fresh content twice a week. Every Tuesdays, we get into some real talk with students featuring their path and journey and wisdom they've picked up along the way. Then on Thursdays, we have our mindset guru, Dallas Pruitt, breaking down the mindset magic from those stories. But wait, there's more. Wednesdays are all about Own the Outcome, a killer podcast hosted by the one and only Tyler Devereaux, the brains behind Multifamily Mindset. Tyler chats with top-tier individuals, digging into their paths of success and dropping some serious pearls of wisdom. So whether you're here for the knowledge, the inspiration, or just to soak up some expert insight, you've come to the right place, where every episode is your ticket to leveling up in the world of multifamily. So let's get this party started. Today, we have a student turned friend of mine, now business partner. She spent her professional career in commercial real estate on the management side and left the corporate world just last year after achieving financial independence from her own real estate investments. All the way from Southern California, a massive welcome to Danielle Dunn. Hi, Danielle.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we've known each other for almost a few years now, and I've loved watching your journey, but our new listeners don't know anything about you. So can you give us a little background of yourself?
Yeah, I fell in love with real estate at a pretty young age, and got my degree in communication studies and went straight into real estate, selling residential real estate, deciding to move over to the commercial side, and helped with shopping centers, anywhere from property management to asset management and leasing. Then my husband and I decided that we wanted to buy property so that we could afford to live our dream. And so we started buying properties across the country, and where the numbers made sense to us because they do not make sense in California. And we decided to go bigger, joined Multifamily Mindset, and started doing apartments.
Well, that's where we met, right? At your 3-day event in Burbank, California. Yeah. And I remember you started on the single family side, right? And and I remember you were like, we need to get rid of this. We need to go into multifamily.
Yep. Yeah. So we were. Sorry.
What was the turning point when you went, we need to go bigger?
We realized that less roofs meant less maintenance, and you could get a lot more income for it. So if you had a vacancy, it was not going to completely diminish the portfolio, or the income. You weren't responsible for that mortgage entirely on your own. And so we were having COVID hit, and we did have a couple properties where in Temple University, Pennsylvania, students did not go back to school. So we had vacancies for a very long time that we had to cover with our paycheck every month, or the profit that came from the other portfolio. So it was not fun. And so we were like, let's just go bigger and get rid of those problem properties. And you kind of talked me through that too a little bit at our first meeting, and it's been great ever since.
Yeah, I found, you don't know what you don't know until you find something new. And I remember being in single family for so long, everyone was like, Cindy, you need to go to multifamily. You need to go to multifamily. And I was thinking, but I got this down. right? We love our comfort zone.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Now I have to learn something new. But man, was it eye-opening as soon as I realized this economy of scales is such a game changer.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know when I met you, you told me you've always loved real estate since
Yeah.
the age of 10.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about that. How at the age of 10 are you interested in real estate?
Well, I was at a bank with my parents and they were talking to their bank manager, and I overheard this other couple talking to their manager about their real estate and how they made all this money and that they just got to travel, and they could create their own life. And I walked up, and I'm dyslexic. I couldn't read at that time. So I just kind of I had been being told my future wasn't bright. And so I was like, well, how can I do this? And the guy was like, well, you don't need to be super smart to do it, and just start investing into real estate. Just start saving as much as you can. So we walked out of there with a CD that I could start investing with. And then I just learned everything I could about real estate ever since.
So they said you have to be smart, or you
don't
wouldn't
have
be smart. But here's the thing, you're totally smart. It's just you couldn't read. Just because someone can't read, how'd you overcome dyslexia?
At 14 years old, they finally figured out that I did have dyslexia. We had to kind of twist the school's arm to figure that one out, but we finally got it. And I went to a private school outside of school. So going into high school, not being able to read was not fun, to say the least, but I was able to do it. But along that journey, I was a straight A student. I just couldn't read. I had to have someone read the test to me, or I memorized everything. I was a very good memorizer, and they're like, you can't go through life just memorizing things. And then, because I would memorize it for short periods of time, the test would be done and I'd be on to the next subject. And so I did very well in school. I just couldn't read until I was in until I was in high school. Unfortunately.
So you figured out a system.
I figured out the system that worked for me, and it's
But
not
you completed a 4-year degree too, after
Yep.
just learning how to read.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
use
So
the same tools.
I say you're smart. You just didn't read until 14.
Yeah.
Although I tell people in this business, it's not necessarily, because not everyone has a lot of degrees doing multifamily investing. And I always
Mhm.
say it's not always about IQ, it's about I can. I know
Yep.
it's cheesy, but I say that all the time.
No, I agree with it completely.
And then so you joined MFM, and then what happened?
So we got connected. One of my mentors through MFM, Kim McCall, introduced us to our partners, Carrie and Kwa in Oklahoma, because that was a market that we were very interested in. And they actually introduced us to a deal that they were working on. So we got into our first deal fairly quickly after that, and then went to Peak Partnership and actually met our business partner Mike Lopez and his brother Isaac Lopez, and started a lending company where we come in and help with gap funding or even just EMD, or we come in as a sponsor. So that's really where things turned around for us and started to skyrocket.
And that was how long ago?
We met them last year at Peak, so a little over a year ago.
That's not that long ago.
No,
And
we
so through this network, you found your partners in this business.
Yep.
And I do love Kim McCall. She's an awesome coach too. She's the queen of connecting, right?
Absolutely.
She can connect everybody together.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So with MFM and what you've learned and your successes, I mean, I've seen you blossom to more doors, to more doors, and then more doors. And I know you just sent me another deal in
Wichita.
Wichita. Yes.
Yep. With
Um,
some other MFM students.
I mean, I love them all.
Mhm.
The beauty of them is they all have like-minded. They're all like-minded, right? We all want to grow, and we all like to bring everybody with us as we grow our portfolio, as we grow our wallets. You know,
Even personal.
it's
Even
yes.
personal life. So we've been to some of their weddings, and it's been 2 years since we started the program, and we've built such great connections that we're now going to weddings of these people. It's great.
Okay, Danielle, you've overcome dyslexia, got a 4-year degree in communications of all degrees. You've worked corporate America for over a decade. Now you're this real estate tycoon kind of woman in a male dominated industry. Has that been a challenge for you?
I mean, you're always underestimated, but I was lucky enough to have two very strong female mentors throughout my career that really pushed me. They made sure that you were always the most prepared person in the room because everyone is always underestimating you. And they weren't always trying to tell me I had to be the more masculine. I didn't have to be very aggressive. That wasn't something that they were trying to have me be just like the men within that industry, but they were always saying you need to know what you're talking about and you need to be prepared in whatever situation you're going to be. So I've always just been over prepared for any of my meetings, and it's really made all the difference.
So, what has gotten you to push yourself to keep going? I know for myself as a woman, there's always people putting me down, even other women. They don't want us to all rise up. It's just, I'm here, so you can't be here too.
Absolutely. You see that literally all the time. Women putting other women down. Actually, everyone just puts each other down. But, I think it's just my drive and my determination, my will to keep going. And like I mentioned kind of in the beginning, I was told that I was never going to be amount to anything. And I wasn't going to allow that to be my end game. I didn't want that to be my future. So I was going to have control and write my own future. And so I want something so badly, I'm going to have it. I want the life that is meaningful to me, and I'm going to do everything that I can in that power to get there. Even when we were having the troubles with some of our rental properties, I wanted this so badly that I just learned that this is a roadblock in the way, and I'm just going to get over it, but it's a learning lesson. And it was not as expensive of a learning lesson as you'd think because the property did so well beforehand, but it was a learning lesson that I paid a little money to learn, and it was worth it. And so every single bump in the road has been something that I've decided to change the narrative and use my mindset and a growth mindset towards, to make sure that that is something that I'm going to overcome and take from it what I need so I can grow and continue to build.
So, what is your end game?
I want to be able to have control of my time and my experience. Time and experience is the most important thing and my biggest value. And so I want to be able to live my life on my own terms. I know you and I were talking about this, of my husband and I want to travel around the world and have the opportunity to be able to live in a different country and immerse ourselves and learn Spanish or whatever it may be for 2 to 6 months at a time, and not be able to just be like, oh, well, I'm sorry, my W-2 said that I can't do that. I want control, and I want to be able to live my life on my terms because I was told for so long that you couldn't. And I don't want to let society tell me what I can do. So that's my end game. Have control of my future.
So, you've proved all of them wrong.
I'm trying.
You're doing it, not trying, you're doing.
Okay, I am.
Okay, so let's dive into your journey with MFM.
Okay.
What attracted you most?
So like I mentioned, my corporate career and that we were in real estate, my husband and I were in real estate together. I I was already kind of doing this for somebody else, and I was helping buy some of the largest shopping centers in Southern California for somebody else. And I actually got to meet one of my clients, and he took me under his wing for a little bit, but he literally was the most wealthiest man that I've ever met. And I live in Southern California. There's a lot of money here, and he's the most wealthiest man I know. And I asked him, how did you do it? And he said, I just started buying apartment complexes all across the country in blue states. And I said, oh, okay, well, I want to do it too. And he's like, well, I figured it out. You go figure it out for yourself. And my phone heard me and sent me MFM's advertisement. And it just so happened that their next meeting was in like a week across the street from my office. So I literally walked across the street, went to the one-day event, and my husband and I are like, okay, well, we've come this far, and everything they said is it aligns with everything we already know. It wasn't like this sales pitch that was going to trick you into doing something. No, they were speaking the truth. So, okay, let's try the 3-day. Let's see what happens.
What made you know we were speaking the truth?
Because I was experiencing it within my career, and I couldn't just, the guy that I was talking to, my client, like, he's great, but he wasn't going to hold my hand. He would let me call him, but, he wasn't going to do it for me. And I couldn't just call the owner of my company that I was working for and say, hey, can you answer this question? How about this? How about that? So I knew a lot of it, but I didn't know all of it. And I needed a mentor to get us there. And so everything he was saying, I was like, yep, I know that. I know that. Yep. I know that I have to do that, but I don't know how to do that. Okay. And I know this. So we went to the 3-day, and then Tyler just said everything that we needed to hear. I literally, when we signed up, was shaking. And I know that Tyler knows this because he saw me crying, and I was just like shaking, and he's like, everything okay? And I was like, I know that my life just changed. I'm like, I'm not scared. And it's actually something I think you and I were just talking about just a few minutes ago. It was, your life is never going to look the same. Like, you have to just understand that if you're going to make these changes in your future, the success is always the hardest piece, because it's easy to fail, but embracing the success is actually very scary. And so we made that check, wrote that check to MFM, and I just couldn't stop shaking because I knew my life was never going to look the same. I couldn't. I was excited, but I was nervous, and my future was forever changed.
But nervous because,
I mean, it's a new experience, and it's different. But I knew that I wasn't ever going to let this go. So I needed to keep pushing.
I know when I transitioned from single family to multifamily, even though I spoke to brokers and agents on the single family side, I remember listening to myself talking to brokers on multifamily, and I sound like a total idiot. And I was like, what's my problem? I've spoken to brokers before. Why is this so different? And until I like fix my head to go, one, it is different. Two, I now know what to say. So three, get going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's pretty much that easy, but it is a transition, right? We just can't, it's not the same property to buy. And the syndication model is a whole new system than getting a recourse loan, using your own credit to get the loan for these single family properties.
Absolutely. And even just in my career, it was different. The leases are different. The concessions are different. Everything that I was doing in resident or in office and in leasing like large shopping centers, it's different even than what we were doing in multifamily.
So let me ask, How do you plan to continue your commercial real estate and multifamily real estate journey in collaboration with our network? Because I know you got some good stuff going on.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, our business partners, Mike Lopez and Isaac Lopez, and then my husband, Christian Paluzzi, and myself, we have empowered capital partners. And so we've actually been partnering with people within the network to either help sponsor their deals or, provide EMD or provide some form of a gap to help them through to the end. So we are kind of like an approachable hard money situation where we're going to help you and partner with you to get to the end result. But we have a little bit different options because we do partner, like with Tulsa, the deal that you and I are working on. We came in as EMD, and a lot of times you could just throw in the EMD and I know I'm getting it back, so like I could have just left it, but instead my husband and I, Christian and I, literally flew to Tulsa and walked the properties. I attend every single call twice a week and make sure I'm there. It's me and the guy running the deal every week, no matter what. Sometimes
Wait, I'm there too.
yeah.
Yes, it's beyond just having money. You have stepped into the operations role, being part of giving in input and making sure all parts succeed. So I love that with you too.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So from 10-year-old Danielle, who was like, I want to do real estate,
Yeah.
to we're not going to talk about age because we're women, right?
Yeah.
We're just awesome age.
Yay.
What would you say the biggest lesson you've learned?
Actually, it's live for now while building for your future. It's not just continuing to grind, but not remember that today matters too. I think that's been a big thing that I've struggled with in forever because I work hard. I've always had to give 150% to pass elementary school all the way to college. I had to work so hard. And even in my career, I was literally working in a windowless office for 8 years, dying every day inside. Like, yeah, it was giving me so many opportunities, but because of all of my fears, I was so afraid to even slip up. So I was giving them 150%, and it was too much. And so now that I'm outside of the W-2 and I get to control my time, and I actually work more than I did before. I'm working 80 plus hours a week now because I'm trying to now get my husband out of W-2, but also making time for us. So like this last year, we went for 3 weeks and traveled all over Europe for 6 different countries. And I don't even know how many cities, but it was what got me to continue onto my why. It's living for now, and my why is experience. And I wasn't always experiencing. And so I think that's my biggest lesson is make sure that you're experiencing now while building for that future, not just focus on the future, because I think that's a huge problem within our generation is just head down, make sure that you continue on. And I got to be at the next position yesterday. And you also have to live for now. Or what are you looking for when you retire at 65 and have what? A really nice resume.
And 401k
Yeah,
and nothing else.
yeah,
And then now you've joined a bowling league.
yep, yeah. And you wish that you had those experiences. I think that it's the balance, and I think that's the thing that I've learned the most is you need to have a balance.
I love that. And yeah, I like to always say the decisions you make today is going to influence your future. So what one thing today or 10 things today, because we are super women, right? We just don't do one, we have to do 10. Overachievers. What are we going to do today that's going to carve out our future? And that's awesome. Well, thanks, Danielle. can we give our listeners information on how they could find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Danielle Dunn, but there's 3 L's because there's apparently too many Danielle Dunns out there. Or I just started a Facebook community where I'm helping other people live for today as they're growing for their future, and just a free little program out there. And so you can find me at facebook.com/groups/the best life yet.
Oh, I love that. The best life yet.
Well, we're
So
here
who's ready to live their best life yet?
Yeah, it's just
Me.
let's share our bucket lists and try to keep each other accountable. So every time you check something off yours, you're going to help somebody else check something off theirs, because you have no idea what you have to offer somebody else.
I love that. So you get to pay it forward too.
That's the premise. It's just a free group for people to just connect, and like-minded individuals like MFM. You never know what a group like MFM or that type of community can bring you. Look at both of us now. So I thought that why not create a group of other like-minded individuals for the same thing?
Yes, we've come a long way.
We have.
You know what they say, because we're moving on up.
Yep.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much for the time and sharing your journey. I love this. And next time I'll see you at Peak. I'm sure of it.
Absolutely.
And for those listeners, I hope you enjoy this time with myself, Cindy Maguire, and Danielle Dunn. And next time at the Multifamily Mindset Podcast, join us for more stories, insights, and inspiration. Until then, keep thinking bigger and get better every day. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you.
Multifamily Mindset Podcast.